Damn it, here we go again. So last night I watched this really good movie. It was called my My Friend the Penguin, and it's a beautiful story, and I really encourage all of you to watch it. And it made me feel good about the human race. And I was thinking, the fact that the love between this fisherman and this penguin, and this penguin he saved it from an oil slick, and then this penguin would swim 5,000 miles from Rio down to Patagonia to mate, and then it would come all the way back 5,000 miles just to be with this fisherman. And he did it for decades, or not decades, it was like 8 years, I think. And it was like, what a beautiful story about love. Love between a man and a penguin. And I was feeling good. And then this morning I wake up and I'm saying, hey, it's football season, it's 2 days away. Those of you who know me know that I love college football. And what do I get? Another damn killing of children. Some nutbag in Minneapolis. And what particularly got me was that one of those kids was 7 years old. 7 years old. If that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, there's something wrong with you. And once again, what really got me is I'm listening to the coverage, unbelievably horrible. And guess what? This nutbag got this whole range of guns that he carried with him. With ammunition, he got all of these things legally. Legally. What's wrong with this country? No other industrialized modern country in the world has this problem. We can't do anything about the guns. That's too late. We're swimming in an ocean of guns. But a gun without ammunition is just an ugly piece of metal. Why can I not go to the drugstore and exceed my limit of a leave, which they check with my driver's license, because they don't want me taking too many leaves and going out and making meth? That they can regulate. But you can walk in any store in this country that sells ammunition and get all you want. No charges, no regulations are controlling that at all. I just don't understand it. And if I get to Congress, that's one of the things I am going, and I didn't mention this in my opening because I was more concerned with the national debt and some of these other problems. But that's a big one. And for some reason, we just can't get there. You know what the reason is? It's the lobby, again, special interests, which contribute almost entirely to the Republican Party, that make guns and ammunition and money. And that's one of the things that is at the heart of why I have so much disdain for the Republican Party. There is blood on their hands. And I want you to think about that. I want you to really think about that. And I do not want to hear one person out there say, well, they're taking advantage of a tragedy to politicize it. The issue is political. That's exactly what government is all about. Making us safer. And if you can't talk about it making us safer when we're right in the middle of a perfect example of why government is not taking the necessary steps to make us safe, then you can never talk about it, which is exactly what the people who raise that ridiculous argument want. They want us to continue to ignore the problem and continue to do nothing about it because they don't want us interfering with their profits. And if that doesn't make you mad, then there's something wrong with you. I normally like to lighten things up a little bit. I don't feel like lighting anything up today. I'm also completely disgusted by the fact that they fired the head of the Center for Disease Control right on the heels of firing a whole bunch of people from FEMA. This government of Donald Trump, with a blessing of a Republican, and I know most of these Republicans don't agree with what he's doing, but they don't have the backbone and the fiber and the moral decency to stand up to Trump and take the positions that are correct on these issues. The government's not taking a 10% ownership in Intel. The Republican, supported by all the Republicans who believe that the government should stay the hell out of business, and now their leader is giving the government a 10% ownership in an American company, and they're thinking about following the same model around a whole bunch of other companies. You know who does that? And listen to me carefully. I know what I'm talking about, and I usually try to know what I'm talking about when I talk about these things. I've spent a lot of time in China. I've given lots of speeches in China, mainly on the intersection of the Chinese and the U.S. economy as it relates to intellectual property and antitrust law, particularly the International Trade Commission, where I've tried cases. I know about China. I have been against some of the largest companies in China. I have represented the largest company in China in patent infringement in the United States. You know what the structure is over there? The socialist. First of all, let me tell you what socialism is, and it's not giving handouts to people. Socialism, look it up, folks, is when the government owns the means of production. The government owns the means of production. Does the Chinese government own the companies in China that are the means of production? No. No, they don't. So therefore, China's not a socialist country. But they say they're a socialist country. Here's what China's relationship is to the businesses and companies and the means of production in China. The relationship is that the Chinese government has a stockholder interest, an ownership position. They don't own all of them. They have an ownership position in all the corporations in China. Now, most of those companies, they're profit-making companies. But the Chinese government has a seat at the board. The Chinese government owns a percentage of them, not the whole companies, but a percentage. And that's exactly what Trump is doing with Intel. He's basically copying the Chinese. Communists. Those of you who are Republicans out there, and I hope that if I pursue this campaign, I will get some of you to see what's wrong with this present administration. It's not a conservative. It does not have the values of the traditional Republican Party or of the traditional Democratic Party. It has its own values, in part the values of the Chinese Communist Party. So I want you to think about that. So I don't have good news. This is not a feel-good day for me. This is a sad day. It's a tragic day. And in my mind, I just see that 7-year-old kid with a bullet in the head. It makes me sick to my stomach. And so I'm sorry I'm not in a better mood right now. But I'm not, and you shouldn't be either, frankly.